चैतमा सकाफल पाकन्ना कुहु कुहु कोयली बासन्ना चैत वैशाखका महिना बेहुली फुल फुल्याका बाट भमरा डोलन्ना चैतमा सकाफल पाकन्ना कुहु कुहु कोयली बासन्ना. Hello everyone, I'm Chandra and I'm talking about Deuda and its significance in my hometown, Mugu district.
Welcome everyone to the fourth episode of my weekly podcast. It is the podcast where common people have some extraordinary stories to tell you. Before I begin the podcast, I would like to thank all the listeners who have tuned in regularly and listened to all of my previous episodes. Today we have Chandra Bhandari, who is pursuing his bachelor's degree in social policy and economics in the prestigious London School of Economics, London, UK. He hails from Mugu district in Nepal, which is considered one of the remotest places in Nepal. Despite the remote tag that his home place holds, Chandra is proud to be a part of Deuda culture that flourishes in the region. Deuda is a rich culture that is performed in festivals and other special occasions. Let us hear more from Chandra about Deuda and dig into its historical significance. So let me welcome Chandra to the podcast, who is speaking from London, UK. Hi Chandra.
Hi Manasvi.
Most Nepalese will surely know something about Deuda. For those who don't, can you introduce Deuda from a historical point of view?
Well, Deuda is a big part of people in the far and mid-western region of Nepal. And in Mugu, where I come from, Deuda is and has always been a big part of any festival or celebration. I cannot tell you much about its origin and such, but from the stories that I have heard and from my own experiences, people perform Deuda songs and dances in every major occasion, every major festival, every major celebrations of their life. And I would say Deuda is more of a way of life of people in that part of Nepal. People express their stories, the hardships, their love life, the joys and the sorrows and everything about themselves through songs. And it is also a fierce competition where people challenge one another, and people who are really good at Deuda are like local stars. So I would say Deuda is a big part of life of people in that area of Nepal.
So hasn't there any research been done into Deuda?
I don't think there has been any particularly big research done into Deuda and how, I mean, where its origins were. I think it's more of a like any other cultural and traditional let's say songs and performances. It is more its roots are more into its more into people expressing about their lives with one another rather than a particular point where it started.
That was a rich account of Deuda that is just given. Do you have any significant memory of being a part of Deuda culture early in your childhood?
I do have many memories from my childhood. Deuda is performed by two opposing teams in a big circle, and I remember being inside that circle and watching grown-ups laughing, singing, and moving sideways in a perfectly choreographed footwork. So it, I was in the middle of the circle watching these people, happy and content. Uh, at other times, you wouldn't really find such happiness expressed by people because in villages it's mostly hard work, manual work, working in the field all day. So this was one rare occasion where you would see everyone happy, and I remember feeling very proud when people used to tell me that my grandfather and my father are among the best Deuda players in the area. So I used to practice with my cousins while we were walking to school or in the forest collecting firewood. And also, like I said earlier, a good Deuda player is a very popular man or a woman. So even as children, we used to aspire to become great Deuda players someday, and become one of the biggest competitors in that area. So I have many memories from childhood, mostly the happy memories.
So compared to how things were when you were a child, how badly has Deuda been affected with the effects of westernization and the negligence of the younger generation to not have understood Deuda's significance?
I think the influence of the Western music or even any other form of music for that matter comes down to how exposed you are to certain kind of music. I mean, in villages still we don't really have the modern means of communications like television, computers, internet, etc. So people are not really that exposed to Western music. But nowadays, due to the big development in communication sector, the young people, they have mobile phones, and you can find all sorts of music in their playlist. So I would say, I mean, people have some access, some exposure to Western music, and they are influenced by it. But then when it comes down to Deuda and its significance within that geographical region, I don't think people look down upon Deuda and say that Western music is somehow superior or is better. I think that Deuda has its own significance, its own higher values in that region. But then the influence is gradually increasing, and young people can certainly do more to preserve the traditions.
So I assume that Deuda has gone some major transformations in order to appeal to the younger generations. How much of this assumption is true?
I think you can find more and more commercial Deuda songs being made, especially by people from the far west region. So people can pursue Deuda as profession as well, rather than just a way to celebrate in festivals and in other occasions in your life. However, most of the commercial work happens in Kathmandu, which is very centralized. So it would definitely be much more better if we were able to produce Deuda songs and put them in a good track in the villages itself. I think we would find much more hidden talents. More young people would be interested to pursue Deuda as singing Deuda or performing Deuda dance as their career, rather than just a thing to do in festivals or major occasions. So I do think there are some transformations going on in terms of making it more commercial, but then it's happening in only one part of the country.
Suppose you confront someone who does not take part in Deuda related activities and instead argues that dancing to Western tunes is way cooler than gathering in a circle and singing Deuda songs. I want you to take that to thousands. What will your reaction be and how will you deal with the situation?
Well, I don't think Deuda is in the competition at all. I think Deuda is a monopoly of its own industry. So and that has its own positives and negatives, and it's a discussion for another time. But so long as people continue to celebrate their moments in life, like performing Deuda, arguing that Western tunes work wonders doesn't really hold, um, in this argument. Um, unlike other traditional songs where participation is constrained by, say, caste or gender, in Deuda everyone can participate. It's one platform that brings everyone together, um, and it's even more attractive to young people. Young girls and boys meet in the low valley during the night and compete with each other, and often many find their life partners on such occasions. So we used to say that Western music has bigger. I mean, uh, is superior to the ways of Deuda. So Deuda appeals to many people in this region of Nepal in so many different ways. Frankly, I wouldn't put Deuda and Western music on the same scale and try and measure which one weighs more. Uh, I would put Deuda uh, in its own separate sphere.
So have you worked on any initiatives to conserve and talk about Deuda culture either in Mugu or in the schools or universities that you have attended in Nepal or the UK? Can you briefly explain if you have any?
Well, I haven't done much on personal level to promote or conserve Deuda songs and dances. But although I used to sing Deuda songs back in our school, in Budanikanti school, and I'm sure you remember Bharat Bhai, Gyanu Bhai, Vikas Bhai, uh, from the time when we were there in school, we used to sing Deuda songs and perform dances in the cultural programs. And I remember our juniors doing the same. So the the students who are from far or midwestern region, they do perform songs and dances. But other than that, we haven't really uh, been able to promote Deuda uh, in other parts of Nepal. Um, I don't know if that, I mean, if that will help, but the the way to really promote Deuda would be to go to mid and far western region and see how big that is in that area, and I don't think it would do it does any um, um, it brings about any big changes talking about it here in the UK or in the in any other parts of the world.
So you really touched upon being a part of Deuda culture and went on to brief us about its present condition. Extrapolating to what you just said, your experiences were equally true to other cultures that are celebrated in different parts of the world. We all need to make efforts to conserve our culture and be proud of our members. I appreciate you for accepting my invitation to talk in my podcast.
Thank you very much, Manasvi. I really enjoyed talking about Deoda songs and dances, um, and I hope we can do this sometime later as well in the future. Thank you.
I, you're welcome. I sure will. That's it. Thanks for tuning to the show. If you liked it, please subscribe to my channel and tell others about it. If not, please leave constructive feedback so that the next episode will change your mind. I will be back next week. Until then, sayonara.